All right. So I have Elizabeth with me. Can you say your last name for me? I
I
always
know
butcher it.
it looks really confusing, but it's Golusho. Like
Galusha.
go Lu show. It's actually not that confused. It's not that hard to say, but it looks super confusing.
Yes.
Golusho.
Well, with my
Yes.
Midwestern tendencies, I'm sure I would fuck it up somehow.
Yeah, well, it's an extraordinarily rare Italian last name, so
So,
yeah.
wonderful. Well, I have Elizabeth here with me today, and we're talking about how life really blossoms when you say yes to magic, most often in unexpected ways. And I don't know, Elizabeth, do you want to say a little bit? I want to call her an astrologer. I don't know if she would call herself that. Do you consider
Oh, th
yourself?
oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I am kind of a couple years into studying astrology, and I'm in like a sort of advanced class right now. I really love it, but I wouldn't call myself that. Maybe I should. I don't know. I mean, I don't
Okay.
really. I do it for a lot of friends, but I don't do it for money, you know? So
Right.
maybe someday I will, but right now I still am like, oh, it's extraordinarily fascinating. By the way, you probably know, we're having a new moon tomorrow in Libra. So
Yes.
it's
Yes.
um it's a very good time for anybody if you're watching this around the 1st of April. Before or after, right? It's a good time
Yeah.
to because it's a full moon. We're trying to release things in Libra. I have a couple planets in Libra. Libra can be that like analysis paralysis and trying to worry about everybody else and make sure that everybody's happy and not prioritizing yourself. People pleasing, right? So it's a good time to like do a little ritual, light a candle, and release those tendencies to put everybody else before yourself.
Yes, I love that. She's an astrologer. I'll dub thee. I dub thee astrologer. Well, I wanted to just talk a little bit today. I did pull a card for us today, and I love how Elizabeth reads the Thoth Tarot deck. And this is the one I pulled for us today,
Oh my gosh,
Swiftness.
you always pull the coolest cards. Actually, I have that card. You see the little symbols at the top. The card is
Mm,
Mercury and Sagittarius, which I
yes.
have in my natal chart, Mercury and
Hmm.
Sagittarius.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
In the fifth house, which is the house of like sex and children and your creations, your art, your magical creations, including children. So yeah, that is a very interesting kind of stressful placement for me because it's Mercury can represent children. It's in my fifth house of children, and it's in detriment, which is very weak, right? Because it's across
Mm,
from Gemini, Sagittarius. So, but I love that card because it's like the wands have become like electrical energy, right?
hmm.
And the rainbow and yeah, it's swiftness, right? So I always just think of like yeah, I'm blessed with a very quick mind and I pick up things quickly. So, I'm blessed. So I always, even though it's supposedly Mercury kind of in detriment in Sagittarius, it feels to me like a great card and a lovely place to have Mercury.
Yeah, and I love the thought of like Mercury in detriment. To me, that feels like, is it possible for Mercury? Mercury probably
Um,
loves to be in detriment
that's
because
true.
it's just as trickster. I mean, it's such a trickster energy. It's like,
That's
haha,
true. Yeah, that's
yeah,
true. That's true.
that's
Yeah.
funny. Well,
This was my card for the morning.
oh Lord,
I know. Isn't that a great card for our conversation, the Aeon?
that is a great card.
I was just really feeling into this. Yeah, I mean, both of them, we just moved into Aries, right? Fast moving energy. And can't you just feel? I mean, you and I have talked about like trying to make sense of like what the fuck is going on right now in the
Right,
world.
exactly. Yes.
And even if I'm fascinated by like the 3D game that's afoot, and I'm kind of keeping up with politics and geopolitical things. But even if you're not, I don't know. I just feel like there's some current running behind everything that
Yes.
feels extremely like, unless you completely numb out with drugs or porn, like how can you not notice something like really weird is happening on the planet? Not
Right.
for me personally, it's been going on since 2020, but I think like I don't know. I just look around. I'm like, does everybody notice what I'm noticing? Like, shit is getting weird. And it's like
Yeah,
weirder and weirder.
weirder every day.
Every month, every week, I'm like, how can this get weirder? I wake up and I'm like, what's going to happen today? Like, what crazy, weird thing is going to happen today?
Yeah, I love that. So maybe you'll like dive in there where that you're in this like cross point of like what is going like there's a cross point of like awareness of the geopolitical situations that are happening and also like you still are able to keep a sense of curiosity about it. You're able to keep a sense of wonderment about it versus I think a lot of people right now are defaulting to fear and
Yeah,
letting fear really drive a lot of their actions. I'm
right.
wondering if your magical practices have influenced how you're receiving the information coming through about what is seemingly happening in the world.
Yes, I think the only way that I'm staying sane right now is by doing tremendous amounts of magic. And when I
Yeah.
say that, I wonder, should we even define, like, what does the word magic mean? Usually the
Yeah,
way
why
I
don't you
spell it.
tell me what your definition is.
Well, first of all, the way I usually spell it, Magick.
Correct.
And I always think of High Magic, the book by Damien Eccles,
Hmm.
who was wrongly accused of murder and was, on death row and in solitary confinement. Anyway, he did tremendous quote unquote magic and was released from prison. And
Hmm.
I guess there's many ways to define it. One way I think of it often as just like following the silent knowing, which is a term that Alan Chapman uses in the book Magia, that there's a
Mm.
silent knowing. There's kind of like and that does feel very relevant for me, that like, if I'm honest, over many years of my life, just doing the things, right? Going to college, getting married, having kids, doing the job, trying to keep up with the Joneses. There was often like this underlying current underneath it all that was like, what the fuck are we doing here? What is this game? This just doesn't feel right that we're on this conveyor belt to like try to make fake fiat dollars or zeros in our bank account and keep up with people and then die. Like there's got to be something else going on here.
Yeah.
But the other way that I think about it is almost like an art and a science. There's like technology, there's tools to what's like the objective here? I mean, when you use these arts and sciences and tools, whether it's like the tarot or astrology or theurgy, which is like doing a lot of rituals and meditations and prayers and practices, I think I'm trying to use these arts and sciences to make the unconscious conscious in my mind,
Hmm.
and also to understand how I can shape reality. I mean, that sounds sort of obnoxious, but I think that's really what you're trying to do is like, I want to shape reality. And if I start to really believe that my thoughts create my reality, then I want to work on my thoughts, right?
Correct.
To
Yeah.
come back
Yeah.
to your question, that's how you
Right.
stay. That's how personally I'm like staying like not afraid at all of what's happening. Can mostly laugh at like what's happening. Don't feel tremendously like Donald Trump is the devil or Kamala Harris is the devil. Like, neither, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can kind of
Hmm.
surf it and be like, whatevs, let's see what happens in Iran. I know that's harsh, right? Because a lot of people are freaking out. Like, people are dying, blah, 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 blah. But that's the whole point, right? Like, I
Hmm.
can't change that, and neither can you. So, like, is it helpful for you to be screeching at me that people are dying? Like, okay, I get it. Yes,
Hmm.
I'm blessed, right? Thanks, like, by the grace of God, I don't live in Tehran right now
Right.
or in Gaza. And I know those are like, I don't know. Anyway, I think people are just really struggling to make sense of everything right now. And I can't say this is like a panacea, but it's an approach. Like, you take your eyes off of this 3D illusion and you put your eyes on something else, which is like unseeable, right? So it's just
Mm.
faith, almost faith, right? That there's another world and this world is an illusion.
Hmm.
And somehow that like just gives me, really reduces the monkey mind, and it just really gives me a lot of grace and neutrality. yeah,
Hmm.
neutrality about
Yeah.
most things, really.
Yeah. Yeah, like I feel like what I hear you saying is like magic really meets us. This is the second time I've said intersection in this live, but magic meets us at the intersection of the conscious and the unconscious. And it
Hmm.
like it builds the bridge between the two, and it says there's an awareness on our parts that there's these two things going on, the conscious and the unconscious, and that we do have the ability to connect with the unconscious. It doesn't just have to like rule our lives. It is us too. So we can connect and we can communicate with it, and we can move it in a direction that we feel like aligns with the desires of our conscious. However, we can't do that if we're constantly focused on someone else's intersection of how they're living their lives.
Yeah.
and
You know,
and all really want to focus on how someone else is navigating their experience, because it makes us feel like, well, at least I won't have to work on my stuff if I can focus on yours.
that's right. It's a very seductive tactic. Um,
Hmm.
you and I met last summer to the fall in a very intensive magical program. And I had done another very intensive magical program in 2023. One of the exercises that we did was around this topic of noticing and stopping all of our tendencies to control and complain. And still to this day, so like almost 3 years, yeah, just about 3 years later, still every day in my journal, at the bottom of the page, I write no controlling, no complaining. And at the
Mm.
end of the day, when I do that, I mean, not always, I just sort of do it sometime during the day. Like it just for like half a minute, I contemplate when during the day was I controlling, trying to control another person or complaining. And okay, there's no problem in doing it. It's just like my personal practice to notice where, and it has made such a difference. It has made such a difference. I just don't do it that much anymore,
Hmm.
or I make fun of myself because I write down like, oh yeah, you did it today earlier with Jane. You know what I mean? You were trying to
Hmm.
control Jane, and it's just a practice. It's just like anything is helping me become anyway. It's a seductive, very common tactic, right? To like try to
Hmm.
control other people, and it's a practice to drop it. It takes a long time.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
because it's a lot of energy out that's wasted, right? It's
yeah.
like energy out that we really have no control over other people. Truthfully, I mean, we think that we do, but in
I
the
can't
end,
even control my two sons, right?
yeah,
I mean,
yeah, yeah.
this was definitely the mental breaking point for me, right? Which is that during 2021, I was like freaking out about, well, lots of things during COVID in New York City, but my sons went and got their COVID vaccines with their father against my will. And that was devastating for me. Like, I don't even have words. And I know it's a super sensitive topic, but it's just an example of like, wow, the universe handed me on a fucking platter. Like, you do not have control over others, even
Hmm.
if they came out of your physical body. I think it's extremely hard for women to, it's extremely hard for me to accept that because they were still quite young and so on. But anyway, the point is, I got a hard, hard lesson, and I guess the universe really wanted to slap me upside the head. So I'm taking that as a serious like message for me, and it's increasingly easy, you know, with adults. Like, who am I to tell them to tell some other man or woman what to do, right? So just
Hmm.
mind your own business, Elizabeth.
Hmm. So like, how has magic helped you to, I guess, like, what are some of the promises of magic that have helped you surrender to a life where control and complaining and like the ability to step back and just witness versus engage? What are some of the gifts that magic has given you as your, I guess, reward for those types of commitments to this type of engagement or work?
Well, I mean, first of all, I guess I'll just say, like, kind of underscore this point of like peace of mind.
Hmm.
And like, how do you put a price tag or like a value on that? And again, it's not my place to say what anyone else should do or, can do to get what they want. But I mean, I sense now that I had no idea how difficult that monkey mind was making my day-to-day life, right?
Mm.
Um, and it's interesting when you meet people who are like, quote unquote, successful, whether they're wealthy or they're like in a position, like in a career position that you think is like powerful or something. They're like, I know it's a cliche thing to say, and I'm not criticizing, but like they're as miserable as anybody else, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
because
absolutely.
if you're not peaceful in your mind, like you're living in your head all day long, right? So that is the number one thing. But number two, like very close behind it, is like how awesome is it to live in the mystery? By the way, I know
Hmm.
you get extraordinary visions and dreams, but that was something completely alien to me 3 years ago. And I think through doing lots of these practices and meditations and so on, looking at your own crap and dealing with your own, shadow integration, that kind of work, I do have some dream recall. And when I do have dream recall, it's like they might be very small little scenes, but they're like very symbolic, potent scenes that I know have
Hmm.
profound healing capability. I really wish that we could, that's the sort of thing that I want to scream from the mountaintops, like how powerful dream work can be. Meaning, the practices like dialoguing with your dream characters and kind of looking at the dream ego as a separate ego that's work. All those characters are parts of your psyche that you're integrating with or coming to face conflicts with and so on. That Yeah, I mean, again, when I do meditations or kind of do astrological rituals for like a planetary thing, again, I don't get tremendous visual, um, but I get a lot of felt sense experiences, and I guess I'm just
Hmm.
like this is so much fun. Like, why would you? I don't
Yeah.
know. like,
Why
like, why
wouldn't
would
you?
you like spend all night at the bar, like watching Netflix? Like, this is so cool. This is so cool getting in touch with your own head and like the sort of like the back of your head, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
from your dreams and like, I keep seeing my ex-husband in my dream, which is like maddening, but then it's like so fascinating and fun to know like that's my inner animus. That's my psychic masculine part that I'm interacting
Hmm.
with. So like, wow. I mean, it's truly like a whole new world opens up to you. Like, holy shit, is that what my mind is working through right now? Like,
Yeah. And then,
it's
like,
just
all of a
how do you make
sudden,
conscious the unconscious? Like, it's not conscious, so you don't know. But like these things come to you in meditations, they come to you in dream recall,
right.
they come to you in ritual when you're candle gazing, all these ways that you can like little by little tease these parts out of the back of your brain. And it just is like just like the most fun you could have as a
Yeah.
human.
It really is because it's also like your personal, it's like it's like your own personal story. It's your own personal television show that you're creating
Yes.
as you go. And it's always very like, um, meaningful, it's always very meaningful when you give yourself a chance to actually engage with what's coming through. I think a lot of times we're like, oh, I had this random dream that one time, and I thought about it for 6 years, but I never thought to ask, like, what does it actually mean? You're like, what do you mean you remember a dream from 6 years ago? Like, the unconscious does not
Make
imprint
mistakes.
strong. It does not. It's, yeah, right. So it makes these really strong images, something strong enough to last 6 years. You should probably sit down and have a conversation with that dream and see what the important message is that's coming through. And it feels so like something that I really am like wanting to provide a space for is that people actually feel seen by the unseen, right? Like, so a lot of time we have this whole genre or this whole market of spirituality where there's manifestation and high vibes and meditation and whatnot. And yet, I feel so many people come away from that experience still a little bit empty, a little bit like
Hmm.
that like got me a little high and it felt good for the moment. And yet when I find myself in the quiet on my own, I still feel very lonely. The altar feels cold, like I'm not actually
Yeah.
feeling like the divine sees me, and cares.
Hmm.
But I think when we work with magic and we address the unconscious and we actually start to like really lean into that conversation that happens between the two, it's very clear that we are lovingly guided and lovingly seen and held. It's going to look a very specific way for just you. And that's why it's important to do these specific practices that are going to get you like really tuned into the messaging that's meant for you. It's like I've always, spirituality is anything but cookie cutter.
Yeah.
Everybody experiences everything so differently.
Yeah.
And even you and I mean, we've talked about this before, how like we've gone through this similar programs and come out on the other side with like totally different kind of revelations, and yet the entry point is similar for humans in a lot of ways. The dreams and the rituals and the willingness to sit with like science and art and kind of see like where the common threads of humanity are like entry points, and then from there it kind of expands into your own unraveling and revealing. So yeah, it just is such a fun. I don't think there's much else I'd rather be doing most of the time than
Yeah.
contemplating like symbols of the dreams.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have to say, when I got deep into this stuff, and again, it's only been about 3.5 years for me. Um, I started in the summer of 2022, so almost 4 years now. But anyway, I kind of threw myself like seriously, like deep, deep into it and was like ravenously consuming every book, or not even so many books. And a lot of people do that, but like practices and modalities, or, I think I'm like amongst my magical friends, I'm actually unique in that I do like tremendous amounts of theurgy, these rituals that
Hmm.
where, you're doing a God working, you're emanating as God. And that was, I know that can sound very blasphemous for folks who are coming from a religious background. I was, sort of kind of raised Catholic. My parents weren't particularly religious, but I came sort of full circle and found myself wanting to go back to Catholic Mass, like almost 2 summers ago. And that was really weird for me. And the other, so just one other kind of benefit of this, which is wild. It's not like I would have wanted this or requested this as a desire, but like I have had like bizarre memory recall over the last year or so. And
Hmm.
I wonder if my psyche, now that I've done enough work and kind of integrated enough of the stuff that was like really put back in the closet, never to be looked at again, now
Hmm.
that I'm like slowly cracking open those closets and looking at stuff, it's like memories are flooding in. And it just gives you like a greater sense of what it means to like have the human experience, to sort of
Hmm.
like you know I was somebody who sort of looked backwards and was like, oh, I had these kind of horrible things happen to me as a child, but like now I'm like, that's not the whole story.
Right,
I
right,
mean, that's just not the
exactly.
whole story. Why would I tell
It's just
myself that
not,
kind of
yeah.
like mantra, or have that kind of like narrative in my mind about like my past or my childhood or where I grew up or my family? Like, it's a mixed bag, like everybody's, but like
Right,
it's
yeah.
very nice to have a more holistic kind of understanding of like my ancestry. Like, I think
Hmm.
ancestry is super important when you get into magic, and sort of like revering the lineage that you come from, even if there were traumas. Like,
Hmm.
you're healing like backwards and forwards, and you have a spiritual lineage too, which might not be your biological family, but all of that is like, it's just more fun and kind of like very, very eye-opening to kind of integrate and feel like, Oh, I'm part of a different like lineage of folks who were into this kind of stuff, and
Yeah,
it sort of opens you up, to a whole
right.
new kind of world and community of spirituality that, truth seekers, or there's many terms, but like you find the right teachers, you find the right programs, and like you said, it's every person's experience is different and unique given their background and what they're interested in, what they're drawn to. But yeah, I think that net, I think there's just this silent knowing that you're following some thread and you like don't even know where it's going to take you, and it might take you to some really weird places.
True.
But it's like you can't. It's like once you
Yeah.
see
Oh yeah.
beyond the veil, and you're like, wait, this is like a shit show. Like this is
Yeah.
not what's really going on here. It's like you
Right.
can't unsee it.
You can unsee it. Yeah, I definitely have found myself in places sometimes and thought, what the hell? How did I end up here? But also, like, I could not go, right? Like, I had to go. Because I felt a tug toward it. I was like, there's something for me there. Even if it's not like my final landing place or my final community, like, I will follow this. I have there is a faith. Magic really cultivates a certain amount of faith in the
Yeah.
unknown that we just don't have access to, I think, without it. And
And I
it's,
used to poo-poo people who were like religious and faith-based, and now it's like
yeah.
that's pretty much all you have to go. I mean, how can you
Yeah.
find a dissuasive, I mean, really, like, I mean,
This
how
is
is it?
Aleister Crowley for anybody who's
I mean, this is the Holy Books of Thelema. This is a very dissuasive um, thread, and I just can't not follow it. I can't
right.
not want to know like how everybody has him wrong and what his channeled words actually mean. Very apropos for the years we've just lived through, and yeah, it's anyway, it can be dissuasive and yet you can't not follow it.
Yeah, I think that's, I mean, it really, I think in a time or place, and we'll just wrap up here in just a few minutes, but I think in a where we find ourselves now for people who are on this timeline experiencing this specific unfolding of events, um, I think that magic gives us um solutions or points of view that help us solve the situations at hand. Also, by realizing we're not solving anything. I think that's the greatest thing. Like, we keep trying to work towards a solution, and magic really teaches us there's no solution. There's just what this is. This is just what this is. And the more that we can, like, let life flow through us and like let magic be a little, like, I always feel like magic is like little nudges this way and that way, right? So like life will always pour through us. Magic is our ability to to sway the stream one way or the other in our favor or in the way that we would like for it to go. The truth is, it's going to flow however it wants to flow, right? Like we will, but at the same
Yeah.
time, it gives us a chance to participate, to step out of victim mindset, to see that like even the most difficult things that have happened to us have a sense of um, meaning or a reason for them, which I know is hard for a lot of people to hear, but also magic frees us from that mentality that we are only what has happened to us.
Yes. I This is a really interesting point. That I've it's very hard to articulate, but unjust things have happened to me, and unjust things have happened to many, if not all of us. And yet, when you make the choice to perceive those unjust things as um, part of some greater plan, all of a sudden they are the means for your unfurling, you know?
Mm,
But they're not, that doesn't mean they were just or right or good.
correct.
But
Absolutely.
you know, when you are ready to see them differently, you will see that they needed to happen to put you on the path that you're on now. And it is a very empowering thing to, and it's hard for me to remember because I was there for a very long time, like, woe is me, and I'm a victim of X and Y and Z. And now, through a lot of work and a lot of practices, like, I'm like, oh, that should happen to me. That's interesting because I would not be where I am today if that hadn't happened. It had to happen. It had to
Hmm.
happen. I mean, once you learn astrology, you can also be like, wow, it was written in the stars. Like, I
Mm,
had these hard things in my natal chart and I came here. I chose to experience that. But again, that doesn't make sense to somebody who's not willing to see it that way for themselves. It's just, yeah, like
yeah,
unjust, wrong, evil things happen. And but how cool is it to like reframe that and retell your own story to yourself and start to understand good and evil in a different way?
right. Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Like
it's hard
it's
to
the
explain to
furthest.
people.
Yes, it is. It's the further, and it's the like I really what I really want people to understand with what you're saying is like it's the furthest thing from bypassing.
Right,
It's like the complete
right,
opposite direction of bypassing. It is like going directly into the source of the wound and like asking the wound, "What do you have for me?" Like that's what is here? What was this about? Like what is the gift? You know, Carolyn talks about that, or Dr.
Dr. Robert.
Robert, her mentor, talked about that a lot with like, what is the gift of this part of me? What is the gift here that you have for me? And um, that is a lot of steps away from where most of us live with our wounding. You're
Right.
right. And at the same time, you're right. Like when we can start to see the bigger picture of why we're here and what's going on, then the freedom that's extended to us is like, that's where the true, like, the true manifestation world actually happens, you know, is like diving directly into the darkest parts of you and finding the gold versus trying to just spend years talking around it or talking about it, you know.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's there's so much to say. I know it's a very like cliche to say that the wound is where the light comes through, but once you dig around in it and find the goddess at the end of that deep dark hole, you realize, oh, that was divine. And it yeah, this is a like not certainly if you've kind of been in like a lot of more traditional religious or spiritual communities, it wouldn't sound like something that's dark or evil can be divine. But I mean, now I see all those things as divine energies working through us as humans,
Yeah.
even if it's like really wicked. It's
Hmm.
so anyway, there's bizarrely divine energy in the most wicked things that happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's quite fascinating to start to see things that way. Um, it's a whole new way to look at life, and it's extraordinarily freeing. It's
Mm,
it's hard to articulate how freeing that is in your mind to not need to like think that like there's only good and I want to be good, 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 and those people are bad. If we could just get rid of them, they're bad, 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 bad. It's like,
hmm.
well,
Yeah,
anyway, that's
I
a
agree. You know, I think there's just this opportunity for us, like if people truly want to engage in like the redemption of humanity, you
hmm,
know, whatever that is or appears to be, where people think the good versus bad, if they want to actually like bring about the good, it's not a matter of eradicating the bad. It's hard, it's like it's balancing, it's equilibrium, it's the ability to flow up and down the spectrum of good and bad without even labeling it if possible. And you know, there that starts with us being able to like see ourselves in every single person that we come across, even the most wicked among us. I like to think of them more as like extremely confused, like very confused people. And I'm never saying what they're doing isn't is right, right? Like that's always the distinction. It's like these very confused people are doing very painful things to other humans. And there's no denying that. And at the same time, these humans are, how do we see ourselves in them? Because we are not separate from them. We all have this connection, this thread running through us of this earth experience.
Yeah.
And like the more that we can see the totality of the person and make space for that experience, the first of all, the less pressure we have on us to fix that person, right? Um, and we actually do more help in the world by turning the investigation back in on ourselves versus trying to force it on someone else.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we've kind of come full circle to the like no complaining, no controlling. But like once
Yeah.
you integrate a lot of those psychic parts, you don't need to project it onto another person by trying to control them or complain about what they're doing because you're sure that it's wrong and bad. It's just like, oh, yeah. Just again, neutrality about what is.
Hmm.
Uh, this is, there's just this way of, it's so hard to explain because until you see it, you can't see it, and then once you see it, you're like,
I can't unsee it.
you can't unsee it. And yeah, it's just a beautiful way to live, to be more peaceful
Hmm.
and accepting of what is. Like by chance, I was on a call with a bunch of magic people last night, and this one guy was kind of complaining that, not complaining, he was saying that like, you have more in common with your like neighbor who's like on the other end of the political spectrum than you do with like the billionaire. So don't take it out on your neighbor because they're the other end of this political spectrum. Like, and I was thinking, but then you're still doing the us versus them versus rich
Yeah,
people. So
right.
so you see how like this, I mean, it's sort of actually like a fun mental game, but it's not like me versus them, the neighbor who is a different political thing, nor is it even me versus the billionaire, right? Like
Hmm. Hmm.
what, why are they our common enemy and now we can other them as another separate group?
Yeah,
It kind of like it sort of spirals on itself, this
yeah.
us versus them, like who's good and who's not
Right.
good,
Who's good and who's bad?
right? Yeah.
Okay, I have one more question for you. Who's your favorite? Um, well, maybe it's a two. Either way, who's your favorite entity to work with, and or who have you had the most like vibrant experience with in
Uh,
ritual or otherwise?
yeah, I think for me it's definitely Venus.
Oh, I was not
Venus.
expecting that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Venus is like the planet in my natal chart that I have very well placed. She's in Libra, which is her home sign. She rules Venus. She rules Libra. So I have a lot of other planets in my natal chart that are not strong. So anyway, I have done a lot of Venus rituals, and I have had a lot of quote unquote success getting the things that I ask for with the help of Venus. And, since last summer, I've been really trying to kind of heal my relationship with Jupiter because I have Jupiter in Capricorn, which is not a good placement at all in a very heavy part of the chart. Anyway, so I have a Joseph statue where he's holding baby Jesus, and I've kind of used that as my representation of Jupiter, like with like me, like I'm the baby that he's kind of a harsh daddy figure. Um, Jupiter, a lot of people see as kind of like the rich uncle who can bless you with things. So anyway, I'm working on that relationship.
I
But
love
Jupiter,
it.
actually, but if I'm honest, I should be much, much more grateful and realize all the blessings of Jupiter, because Jupiter does not just bring money, right? Everybody thinks he brings abundance, meaning Federal Reserve notes, right? Actually, he's the guru who brings wisdom. So actually, I
Mm,
should be extraordinarily grateful to Jupiter who has brought me, like, who has I've all these beautiful teachers. I've found all these beautiful teachers. Those are blessings, right? That like the right person comes into your life
yeah,
at the right
yeah,
time
yeah,
to be
absolutely.
your guru.
Hmm.
And I mean, I could go down the list of teachers like, and I hear about stories like people studying with like people who are nuts and like make them give them all their money or go live with them or just, people who teach stuff online who are really unethical. And
Hmm.
I'm just so grateful that the people that I've found have been such good people,
Yeah, yeah, it makes
So
a
that's
huge
actually
difference.
a big blessing of Jupiter's to me.
I love that. I love that just one more way that like the way that like the magical practices reveal gifts to us in ways that we really couldn't have conceived. Like you go into like a relationship with someone thinking you're going to get X, Y, and Z, and turns out they knew better the whole time and they give
Exactly.
you something else and it's like, oh, this is actually way more meaningful to me. Thank you.
I mean,
So,
really, you hear about like these weird cults and people, just like
mhm,
narcissistic teachers who are off their rockers and like are not clearly like enabling students to learn for themselves. And anyway, so it has been a blessing. Like I have found great teachers, even if it's like the lady down the shop who's an herbalist, you know what I mean? And I found
mhm,
her shop and I was like, wow, this woman is so knowledgeable and has taught me so much about herbs. Um, Thank you, God. Thank you, Jupiter,
mhm,
like
mhm.
for bringing this woman into my life.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time. This has been a wonderful conversation, and I'm sure we'll have.
Keep me posted on the new program.
Oh, yes, we'll have a new program announcement. I know it was supposed to be today, but it's still in the works, so we're
Okay.
going to keep it a little longer. But I'm gonna post your contact, your tag on Instagram so people can find you. I know you don't post on there a ton, but
Yeah, sure.
um, and yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank